Welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a mid-month reading for the sign of Taurus, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. It's going to be much shorter than the monthly readings on account of it being more of an energetic snapshot. I want to see where you are right now, what's coming towards you for the rest of the month, and then pull some cards of advice. See if we can't ease the way for you a little. If you want any information, have a look in the description box below, because the chances are I've already put it in there for you. So, where is Taurus right now? About Taurus's energy right now. Okay, first card is the Hanged Man. It's the card of Pisces in the Major Arcana. It's number 12. It's interesting. Two more cards for where Taurus is right now, please. Queen of Wands. It's strictly the card of Aries, but it's could be Leo or Sagittarius too. One more card for Taurus, please. Where is Taurus right now? Oh, Two of Cups. I like it. Just FYI, I don't take cards when they fall to the right, because that does mean that I have literally just dropped them, and not about that. So, so interesting. What's going on here? So, right now, Taurus, you're in somewhat of a suspended state, right? The Hanged Man is the most passive card in the deck. Right? He symbolizes an absolute stasis, and it's a voluntary stasis. It's a voluntary lack of movement, because what the Hanged Man has done, you know, it's Odin. He's hung himself upside down from the tree of knowledge for 9 days or whatever, in order that he may see the world from a different perspective. Right? It's waiting. And it's waiting fairly patiently, actually, for something. And this is the state that you're in at the moment. There's an aspect of submission to this as well, you know, and that could be a submission to divine timing, you know, just waiting because you know what's coming is going to be worth it. Or it could be waiting purely to allow the answers to the questions that you have to arise naturally in a holistic way at exactly the right time. And it's interesting then that the Queen of Wands should have come up directly after it, because this energy is not one of A, submission, or B, in any way patience. It's kind of at odds. I might pull another card in a second. But this could be a Leo, Aries, Sagittarian in your mix, and I know Sagittarius has been quite present in your readings for a little while. But it's the feminine presentation of the suit, because it's the Queen rather than the King. Now, that doesn't mean that it needs to be a woman. It just means that it's the feminine attributes of the fire suit rather than the masculine ones. So there's a more receptive quality to this than there is with the King. Like, the King will drop everything and go off on an adventure at the drop of a hat. Like, this one is kind of waiting to, she's waiting to see what comes to her. And if she feels the need, she will pounce off and go and do something. Yeah. But she's sat down, she's sat in a throne. And actually, now I'm looking at her, she does look like she's waiting. So is this your energy, or is this your Sagittarian energy? Like, it's definitely around you right now. You know, are you waiting for the right time to pounce? Is this what this is? Or is this Sagittarius that's been in your midst kind of stopped actively chasing you quite so much and and relaxed into a state of receptivity. Right? You'll have to fill in the blanks, you'll know better than I. The final card is the Two of Cups, and this is a partnership of some description. Now, it doesn't have to be romantic, and I'm going to bang on about this till the day that I die, because it can quite often come up for business partners, it can come up for siblings, it can come up for friends. It's anyone with whom you share a vision of some description, whether that's of your life together or working together or just the way that you see the world. It matches, it correlates, your energy meshes really nicely, and you form a relationship, platonic, romantic, otherwise. But as I'm talking, it does rather feel like you are waiting, as I said, for the right time to pounce on this potential relationship. I'm going to pull another card or two, though, because I am, insufferably nosy, and I need to know which bit, though. Right, tell me about the Queen of Wands. Why is the Queen of Wands here? I'm almost certain that was the Temperance card that just tried to jump out there. Eight of Wands. Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands. Okay. So there's the Temperance card. There's the Sagittarius energy right there, right? And we've got the Eight of Wands, which is also Sagittarian energy. So there's a couple of different ways that this could go here, that you could read this. The first is exactly as I said, that you've kind of, not necessarily withdrawn, but you are now in a very conscious, extremely voluntary, patient stage of waiting, so that you can strike at exactly the right moment. And it makes it sound like a snake. It's not what I mean at all, but it's kind of knowing that when the opportunity arises, you will be ready to pounce on it, right? The other way of seeing it is that there's an element of suspending yourself in a different way, to see the world in a different way, to align yourself with the energies of this potential Sagittarian. Quite more comfortably, I would say. Because sometimes fire and earth don't go together terribly well, particularly fixed earth and mutable fire are actually fairly different energies. And there's a level of compromise that needs to occur between both in order for you to carry on together nicely. Because otherwise, fixed earth wants to stay where it is. It's very slow moving. It's fixed earth. It's literally the slowest moving energy that there is. And then mutable fire is extremely fast, and it's actually quite unpredictable. But whichever way it applies to you, we've got this double Sagittarian energy underneath, right? And the Eight of Wands is about swift incoming communication. So it could be that there's a bit of conversation between you, but it could be that this is what you're waiting for. And then Temperance, as well as being Sagittarius, it talks about internal healing. It talks about balancing. There's usually an angel depicted on this, and there's something quite angelic about Sagittarians, I've noticed. Like, I know a few, and they have that kind of slightly angelic quality about them. I don't know if it's because they're the centaurs. It's something quite mythical. It's the mythical creature of the zodiac. It's a bit like a unicorn, and they're kind of bound around, barely of this world. And perhaps you are trying to align your energies a little bit more. We're trying to take a little bit of the slow, resistant energy for which you Taurus are so, renowned. It's kind of like rub the edges of that off a little bit in order that you might be able to gallop alongside your centaur. I like it. It's actually really sweet. Right, let's have a look and see what's coming towards you for the rest of February. What's coming towards Taurus for the rest of February? Right, we've got the Ten of Wands and the Ace of Cups there, which is nice. I'll pop that one back because although it was the Six of Cups, soulmate energy. It's coming towards Taurus, the end of February. Oh my fucking life. Temperance has flipped again. I'm going to take that as confirmation of what I've just been burbling on about. Just get these all straightened up. Six of Swords, Queen of Swords. Yeah. 2 more cards for what's coming towards Taurus, please. Really? There are like 7 cards that have just flipped out there. 8, in fact. We've got the Four of Pentacles, the King of Wands and the Eight of Swords. Came out together there, right? That's more fire energy right there. But that is also then a pairing. We've got the King and the Queen there. I'm not going to take these. I'm just going to show them to you because I feel like they've all run out for a reason. But the Four of Pentacles talks about holding on too tight, right? It's clinging to something. It's not letting the energy move in and out. And this is important because it's kind of fear-based. If you are clinging to something really hard, it's because you're afraid that it won't come back to you in any kind of meaningful way. This is important because if you are dealing with a Sagittarius, someone who has Sagittarius strongly in their chart, that's the worst thing that you can do to a Sag, right? Don't cling to them. They need to feel free. They need to feel like they can gallop about and be a centaur and stuff like that. But they will come back, right? Just going to make it all nice for them. They'll come galloping home at the end and tell you all about their adventures, right? And we've got the Eight of Swords there. Like you clinging to the situation will make this Sagittarius feel trapped. So don't do that. Then we've got the Six of Pentacles, which is the only one that came out by itself, and that's about balancing out situations, right? So whether that's your internal state or whether that's the state between you, you know, it's a state of balance. That's really important. And also, again, a Sagittarian quality that we see in the Temperance card. And then we've got the Page of Pentacles, Death, and the Six of Wands. Now, obviously, that is your energy, and that talks about a new start right there. But the Death card talks about transformation, right? It talks about endings, yes, sometimes, but more often I see it as not a stark individual event, but kind of like a something so intimately related to what goes before and what comes after that you cannot segment it in such a way. Like the whole thing is a transformative experience. So note that it transmutes like elemental alchemy from pentacle to fire, right? Taurus to, that's actually Leo, that, but that's starting off on something, you know, at a fairly low level, transforming it through to victory at the end, you know, conspicuous public victory. So, having gone through all that, I'm going to put all those cards back in. I think it's really interesting that they came out and they were all completely relevant. There were just too fucking many of them. So, it's coming towards Taurus for the rest of February. 9 of Cups. And one more card for what's coming towards Taurus. I'm sick of this. Like, the 6 of Wands has dropped out again to the side. It's a very insistent card, but being a Leo card, like, I mean, really, what do you expect? One more card for Taurus, please. Ah, beautiful. I love it. Right, we now have the 6 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Remember how it flipped before, right? Soulmate connection. But what we've got here is the 10 of Wands and the Ace of Cups, right? That is an end and a beginning right there. Yes, there are of different suits, but I don't really think that that's an issue here, because the 10 of Wands talks about burden. It talks about things being too hard, right? It talks about taking on too much of a load and then suffering for it. It's kind of breaking point is what this is, right? But it leapt out with the Ace of Cups, and it feels to me like there's a certain venting that needs to occur, that is going to occur, that then facilitates the movement of this ace into this space, you know, because endings are all about clearing stuff out to allow the new stuff in. You get the end of a cycle, you start the beginning. And this is the infinite potentiality of the Cup suit. So whatever you found really hard, and maybe what you've been finding really hard, is this attempt to align your energy with something that is so completely different to you, right? That's possible. Yeah, you're going to end up kind of coming to the end of your tether with it and kind of snapping a little bit, whether you express that outwardly or whether it's a mental position. And it facilitates the incoming of this Ace of Cups, which is, you know, new love of yourself, of someone or something. You know, I think that given the fact that we've got the 2 of Cups, the Ace of Cups, the 9 of Cups, and the Knight of Cups on the board, it's probably a relationship. But it then leads straight to the 9 of Cups, which is the wish fulfillment card. You know, this is everything that you ever wanted. It's right here, and it's coming directly after the Ace of Cups. Something's got to give, something's got to end, something's got to be put down so that this can come in. And it flows beautifully straight up to this 9 of Cups. And then after, we've got the Knight of Cups, you know, who's bringing in a solid offer. And it's an emotional offer. You know, it's this consistent line of cards here. You know, from your breaking point, from your venting, from your putting your wands down, Ace, 9, Knight. It's absolutely beautiful. And this Knight is sitting under the 2 of Cups. You know, this is... It's really sweet that you're trying to align your energy with this person and working on yourself to remove some of the more rigid aspects of your suit from your mind is really, really useful. And trying to live a little bit more spontaneously rather than, you know, trying to plant yourself like a tree is a useful lesson. But don't try and be something that you're not, because ultimately that will backfire on you, you know? And maybe this burden is you trying to pretend to be something that you're not, in the hope that it facilitates the thing. But actually, you know, if they're interested in you, they're interested in you for you, not for, you know, not for what they think you are. You have to trust it. So, I'll get some cards of advice here. Oh, it's getting very stormy outside again. Right, 3 cards of advice for Taurus, please. One more card of advice, please. There we go. Right, the 3 cards that you've got are the Page of Wands, the reason that I'm smirking, which is the Four of Pentacles and the Moon, right? And as advice, the Page of Wands, I feel really strongly here, is asking you not to take yourself quite so seriously. You know, relax. Be a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Carefree, maybe. Yeah, the Page of the Page of Wands, rather. It's a kind of slightly naive energy, but I've got a lot of love for this page in a way that I don't really have for any of the others, because he's so excited about all the new things that he's going to experience. You know, yeah, he's got a job to do and he's got messages to relay and stuff like that. But for him, it's getting out into the world. It's meeting new people. It's broadening his horizons. You know, all these kind of things. And it's low level. Like, if you're trying to jump straight in at queen level, is a little bit much. Like, you have to take it slowly. So come down to a page level and just start experiencing the joy of the small things here and now and in the moment, not constantly planning ahead like, you know, the Earth suit does. It's because it's all about, you know, stepped methodical progression. Just kind of relax a little bit into it. You know, find your childlike excitement about things, because that's infectious. People love to be around that energy, you know, and it doesn't have to be faking it until you make it. You know, find the small things, delight in the small things. And then we've got the Four of Pentacles, and I already spoke about the Four of Pentacles. You know, it jumped out before. Don't cling to things, right? If you have to cling to something so hard to keep it in your life, then it's really genuinely not supposed to be there. You know, those things that are will stay, and they'll stay of their own volition, not because you forced your will on them, right? And that's really, really important, right? And there's no shade, because we all do it, like we've all done it at points, but let the energy flow in and out. And the more that you know, express gratitude and delight in those things that you do have, rather than fearing that you will lose the things that are around you, the more you'll get this kind of excitement. It's beautiful. And then we've got the Moon. Now, as well as being the card of Cancer, not Pisces, as somebody tried to correct me the other day, like, for me, it's the card of Cancer. I'm glad if it's the card of Pisces for you, but it's not for me. So, this talks about things that are hidden, yes, but for me as a reader, and I'm the one doing the fucking reading, this talks about the subconscious. This talks about the things that are lying beneath. It talks about your subconscious drivers, right? And I find it really interesting that it's come up with the Four of Pentacles, because this to me is asking you to examine what is driving you to cling to things, right? What stops you from trusting that everything will just work out the way that it is? Where's the fear coming from, right? Because until you identify where the fear is coming from, you cannot bring it out into the light and see it for what it is and go, oh, that's just that little chattery voice, you know. Making yourself whole and making yourself, you know, complete all and of, all by yourself, makes you a far more viable partner for anyone, absolutely anyone, but especially, you know, a fire sign of some description. It's important for your own happiness, truly. Let me just pull another couple of cards for that. What about the Four of Pentacles and the Moon, please? Yeah, I love that. Right, so clarification for the Four of Pentacles and the Moon is the Eight of Pentacles, the Seven of Wands, and the Sun. Yeah. which is the card of Leo. And for me, this just, those two cards there just loop back on one another, you know, endlessly, because for me, this is the card of the inner child, right? This is the card of the fully incorporated whole, right? This is somebody who is both an adult, but also able to express joy on the innocent level of a child. You know, take pure pleasure in something, in lots of things, actually. But putting that to one side for a second, you know, Eight of Pentacles, the Seven of Wands, they talk about working really, really hard. But and this talks about defending yourself, talks about, you know, guarding, all that kind of thing. But coming up to you know, clarify these two cards here, as I asked for them to do, it's asking you to really look within and find out what it is that triggers you. What is it that triggers these feelings? You know, these fear-based feelings of stuff. And, you know, you're probably going to have to go back quite a long way, because these deep-rooted insecurities and fears quite often take root in childhood. You know, they go back far, far further than you could ever have possibly imagined. You know, we as adults we sometimes wander around, look at 4-year-olds and think that they've just got heads full of confetti, but they don't. You know, they are sponges, and they're taking in literally everything about their environment. And, you know, at the same time, they're not aware of how much adults project, right? So they will be told off, or they'll be told that their behaviour is not cool in this way or the other, and that child will internalise that, because they're constantly looking for the rules of the society that they live in, right? That's what they do in order to keep themselves safe, right? So if they misinterpret something that happens because an adult was projecting rather than, you know, really trying to get down onto their level and make them understand in a way that they can understand what the situation is, it gets filed away, and it'll sit there, for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, until you dig right down and look at it, and you go, well, fuck me, this is why I'm a people pleaser, this is why I'm this, that, and the other. You know, look for your triggers, because once you acknowledge them, once you see them for what they are, they literally lose all of the power. They can't do that anymore, and it will stop you trying desperately to cling to things that you really want. And not just, you know, the one thing that you want that's in front of you, but more of that, more of those experiences, more of those wonderful things, you know, that make you feel some kind of way. Go find your child, right? Because if you want to align with a fire sign, like, find your fucking child, right? Because we're all just big kids. Like, we like to play. You know, we're strong and we're fearsome and all that kind of thing, but at the root, you know, we're all about that. And no amount of shadow work is ever fucking wasted. Ever. Like, it's super important. And you've got so many wonderful things that are here for you. You know, what you don't want is to engage in an act of sabotage by acting in a way that you think will keep something in and actually will push it away, is what I'm trying to say, I think. So, I love you all very much. I hope that helped. And I will see you in like a week or so for the March monthlies.